What's up, guys? This video is mainly tailored towards my long shaft team, though it is applicable to any of my 4-on-4 teams, but for the most part I'll be talking to you guys directly. So what happened was this last weekend I played a tournament in Vegas, and I was fortunate enough to play with a guy who's pretty skilled and who has played on a lot of tournaments. My West Covina team that some of you will probably play against in pickup here and there, like on Thanksgiving, for example. We're pretty damn skilled, but we're missing a lot of structure. That's something I think our team can do really well. And this upcoming season, I really want to implement some of this stuff because we're just gonna puck possession the shit out of the other teams. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go over a lot of stuff I picked up on, some really useful stuff. I don't know how long this is gonna be. This isn't really structured, so hopefully I don't stumble and stutter too much. But yeah, we'll just see how it goes. Alright, so our breakouts, like I always talk about. Here's what I kind of want all four. Well, before I get into what all four guys should be doing, first of all, this guy here, the defense end. Now this is a controlled breakout as usual. Has the puck, and you usually have a guy sitting in front of the net. So one thing that you might have noticed in games is when this guy kind of curls down and goes up, or goes behind the net, whatever, it doesn't matter. You don't want to wait too long to make this pass here, because basically if all this guy has to do is take a couple steps over, and he can pick off that pass. Okay. So as I mentioned in the breakout videos, you guys see this goal line. Okay. Hopefully I don't see too much crapper. You see that goal line. The pass should already be hitting him right there. Okay. If you're doing one of these circles where you go up here, the problem is that pass is going to be covered by this guy here. Okay. So let me delete some of this crap. Sorry. Okay. So let's see. So on the other side of it, you can think of it this way: if you're this guy guarding the other team, and this guy's coming down for a breakout, or he's like, this guy's like swinging this way, or whatever. Oh, it's hard to draw with the mouse. Ugh. All right. It's smart for this guy. All you have to do is take a few steps this way. It's not a lot, just like 2 or 3 steps, and suddenly you're gonna cut off a lot of the passing lane here. All right. Not that other teams break out that well anyway. But anyway, my point is, when we break out, just keep in mind the pass should be here. Now I know I'm repeating a lot of this shit. I'm gonna repeat a lot of this shit I said in other videos. Okay. The pass should be going here. Now as a defenseman, I also noticed that whenever I swing out, some of you are waiting to pass to me. No, you got to give it to me right away. Alright? The goal is, at least for these guys swinging, the goal is for these guys to pick up speed as they're breaking out. Okay? So make sure you hit that pass right away so we have more time before someone gets right on our ass. Alright, anyway, the main breakout I wanted to cover was this. So when we have 2 guys along the board, I remember I always told you guys start from the middle and go out, which is easier. One thing, I'm going to make a slight change to that, in that when you come back, going back along the boards is fine. Now, especially we want you to do that on a pressured breakout. Okay, like if this guy's just chasing me, a lot of times the defenseman will just wrap around the board. But anyway, if you guys come back along the board, that's fine. I actually want you to do that from now on. And one guy's going to swing behind the net, curl up. And the other guy, once you see that he's going to go behind the net, like obviously I don't want both of you to collide and go behind the net. So the other guy's probably just going to do one of these where he swings down here and it goes up. So both of you are going to be picking up speed and going forward. So it doesn't matter who the lead man is, but if I pass it one way, like I talked about in other videos, you're going to cut the rink shorter. You're going to keep cutting the rink shorter. Okay, like I was talking about, you don't want to just go in a straight line and make these long-ass passes, alright? So for the most part, I want to do something like this. This is how we're going to break out. Now, this guy here is something we haven't really been utilizing at all. So what I want this guy doing here is a lot of times he's just going to be circling around. And he's going to be switching places with these two guys. This is where it gets a little bit confusing, but a lot of times he's going to come, you can swing down like this. That's actually the best way to do it. You're going to swing down, and so if you get that pass, that's when you're going to do a hook and ladder. So what that means is whoever is guarding, see, if there's a guy guarding him, right, and he follows you all the way this way, and is still with you here, like if you can beat this guy, then they're going to be screwed. Because what's going to happen is, as long as one of you forwards beats your guys, this guy who's going down, if I send it past him, he's just going to chip it right by you, and you draw off to the races on your own. Now that's assuming their defenseman just sticks with the guy. I mean, if they do that, then they're going to get burnt for it. Okay. Let's see. So what happens after is, if I don't pass it, oh shit. Come on. Alright, so if I don't pass the puck, this guy is going to keep coming back. He's going to keep coming back. And now, one of you, either this forward or this forward, is going to be the high man. Now, which one is it, since they're both swinging forward? Doesn't really matter. Just whoever's has like is in the lead, you can just, you have to read off each other. But basically, this guy will replace him. And if you're this forward and you're behind, like you see that he's already going up, and that's fine. Then you're just going to curl back and then come back this way. So what this does is when this guy comes all the way back, in case, especially if they like forecheck or something, and they pressure me, if I go out, then this guy is going to be the guy covering me. Now ideally, you take a defenseman with you. Okay, and that's what will allow our 3-on-2s, because you have a guy here who's like forechecking me, and hopefully there are other defensemen following him the whole way through. Right. So anyway, all this shit's kind of confusing. I get it. But it's something we want to definitely practice. The key is just have this guy up here. And the way this is going to work is, it doesn't really matter if you're a defenseman or forward. The three of you are going to be switching, and even possibly this fourth guy. Because sometimes this guy behind the net, which is usually going to be me, I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be doing this, and then maybe someone on their team is going to cover me. So a lot of times I should have an option to just throw it back. Okay, and then that's where this guy who's up there comes all the way back and picks it up. Okay. I mean, sometimes it can also be this guy who's, if you're like doing this. Okay. So kind of confusing stuff. It's something we would have to practice, but hopefully we can practice it in season. I mean, we're smashing all these teams anyway. Granted, we lost the playoffs, but we're clearly better than all these teams. But I really want to practice this style of breakout. I guess some things I've probably been not doing so well in our games is perhaps whenever I burn a guy, I guess I don't have to go all the way. As my teammate was explaining to me, he says you have to kind of see everybody, and if you burn this last guy, like the guy forechecking me, he says you have to see if everyone else can, if you have some kind of odd man rush. If you can't really get an odd man rush anyway, I can always go back and just go straight behind that. So I think that's something I haven't really been doing. Another thing I wanted to bring up was resetting. There are times we don't do it enough, but there's all that I've definitely mentioned, but there's also times that I probably do it too much. In other words, if we're playing kind of a weak team, I guess you don't really have to reset. You might as well just keep the puck in their zone, and just keep putting pressure on. Okay. Next, one easy thing, or I guess most people do out of habit, kind of makes sense. But this guy's swinging over, and then you see a pass, and he's wide open. A lot of times you hit him. It makes sense, but apparently it shouldn't be. I guess I shouldn't be doing that. It is important to assess that this guy who swings down has a second pass. If this guy does not have a second pass, then it might be best to just wait. Just be patient and let them reset again, okay? Or you guys would have to keep circling. So keep in mind, all of you, you don't have to be skating your ass hard, right? You're just keep moving your feet, though. That's the key. Keep moving your feet. In our game, sometimes what I've seen was whoever is down here, if we do happen to have a guy here, this guy would just sit his ass there doing nothing. So as that last guy back, you have to be reading it. You have to be just moving a little. Like if you see, I don't know, if you see our players like starting to like clump up together, you want to see that I need to pass over here. So just start skating that way. Okay, I may or may not pass you, but you don't want to just sit here and just stay in front of the goalie or something. That's pointless. Okay. So just keep moving your feet. Look for some kind of open lane. Alright. That, for the most part, is what I want to cover on a team breakout. Some minor details I do want to cover, though. Let's see. Hold on. Erase this guy. Alright. A couple minor things I did want to talk about. I remember my teammate was telling me when this guy's swinging behind the net, he thinks the defenseman should decide whether this forward gets the puck or not. Because the defenseman can see what's going on. The defenseman can see everything. He has the view, and he can decide whether this guy should pick up the puck or not. I'm gonna maintain that that is not a good idea, because while we were playing, I kept remembering shit getting confusing whether I should take the puck or not. So I'm still gonna stick with the forward. If you're gonna go behind the net, it's up to you to take the puck or not. If you take it and you think you can burn the guy, then yeah. If you think you can burn the guy, then do it. If not, just let it go. And then I can always hit you with a pass right after anyway. I think it makes things a lot easier too. So if you guys disagree with me on that, then let me know. But that is what my teammate told me. He said the defenseman should decide, but I find it more confusing. We'll still have the forward pick it up. Another good thing I did bring up. So let's see. Hold on. Get rid of this guy real quick. Now this is kind of interesting in that this is a pass that's tough to make. So let's say whoever's guarding this guy on the other team, he sticks with him. He stays with him, so he comes in front of the net, and then he's staying with him. And let's say you have a half step on him, like a slight step. Now obviously, I cannot make a direct pass to you. I can't go from here to here because that guy's in the way. So one thing that we could do is either wrap it around the board, of course. And remember, James, I always tell you, like, I cannot give you this pass, right? So you don't want to turn your head in that direction. So you wrap around the board, or you give this bank pass. Now this bank pass is tough to handle, though. Hold on, let me see if I can draw it right. But basically, it's going to look like this, where you bank it, and it's just going to slightly bank that way, while he's still going forward. And hopefully you have that half step on him, then you can beat him. Right now, that one's kind of hard to handle. And one good tidbit I picked up on this was, I guess if this forward, he goes around the net, and then he coughs up that pass, that's it kind of is the forward's fault. But like my teammate told me, he said, if you know the guy can't handle a pass or is not that good, then don't give him that pass. So that's your fault. That's like expecting like level 5 skill from a level 3 player. So if you know the guy's bound to cough that up, don't pass it. So that is true. I somewhat agree with that, but at the same time, I do want you guys to practice some of these tougher passes so you get used to it. Because, how are you going to get better if I never give you those passes? So I may give you some tough passes, particularly hold on. As you might have noticed, sometimes it's hard to do this. Hold on. Like while you're coming back, and I'm being somewhat pressured, and I wrap that puck hard. Like one of the worst case scenarios is when you try to pick up the puck and then it just bounces in the middle. I get that. That's hard to handle. Okay. but I'm still gonna try to do that just so you guys can practice it. Okay, like I said before, I'm not gonna try to board pass. It's only when I'm being pressured. For the most part, I will avoid that. Let's see. Last thing I did want to talk about. I guess I should have covered this a little bit earlier, but whatever. It's not a big deal. Like I said, there's no organization, unfortunately, so sorry about that. But while you're going back, so David Heaton is actually very good at this, where I pass it to him. If I do pass it to you while you're coming back, then just be sure that you're skilled enough to pick up the puck, and then boom, just go right up with it. Okay. And once this guy sees that, because he's going back to you, once he sees that, then he can either cut behind you, right, and you can keep going. You can drop it off. It's up to you. Or if he did recognize that pass early, he can cut forward, and then you can give him the pass right after, or you can delay and give him a bank pass. And we also have a guy back here somewhere. Anyway, my point being, if I pass it to you while you're going back to your own net, just be sure. Usually, that should mean you're not covered, and that you can pick it up and turn really quick. You should be able to go up the board. Otherwise, you're just gonna keep going, right, and swing forward. I guess another way you can handle this, and I talked to you about this, James. Like, if I wrap it around the board, I hate when you stop it and you bring it back into our own zone when it's unnecessary. A lot of times you can just slow the puck down. So I wrap that. You can slow the puck down and then you just move with it. Just move with the puck. So you're actually just slowing it down. So you want to work on that type of play. I guess that's about it. That kind of covers some of the interesting stuff I learned in the tournament. Really want to bring some of this type of play to our league. Yeah, we're low level. We're not super skilled or anything. We're like not low, but medium level. Again, we're not super skilled, but I'm gonna tell you guys right now, if we learn to do all this shit, we are gonna smash teams. And even if we don't have Derek, I feel like we can still smash them. Yeah, I guess that's it. Let me know what you guys think. See you at the start of the season.